some progress there. Now, thank you. Now let me move from nuclear energy to solar energy. Recently, there was an interesting publication out by the association Target number 7 on the prospects of explosive growth of demand for solar energy in Russia. Tatiana Lanshina takes the floor. Good afternoon, colleagues. Let me share my screen. I have a small presentation for you. I'm Tatiana Lanshina, CEO for the association Target number 7 and senior researcher at Russian Academy of National Economy. A couple of weeks ago, we published a study of non-subsidized market of solar energy in Russia, volumes, prospects, and we try to answer the question, how much is a kilowatt hour of solar energy in Russia? The Russian market of the renewables is hardly visible at all against other large economies. Solar and wind only account for 0.2% in Russia of the total generation, while globally it is 10% that comes from wind or solar. The installed capacity, again, the situation is similar. And if we look at the non-subsidized, unsubsidized market, the market that has no government support whatsoever, its volume is very, very small. At best, it's 100 megawatt, and the bulk of the installed capacity was built over the last few years in this country. Why we decided to look at that market? The solar energy has become much less expensive over the recent years. Let me show you the curves. The blue curve here is the dynamics of the kilowatt hour of electricity from the solar over the last 10 years. 89% reduction was achieved, and the solar kilowatt hour is just 1/10 of what it used to be 10 years ago. Because of this development, the solar electricity has become competitive and comparable with other sources, which makes us pay attention to this market, us and potential consumers. And over the last 2 years, in Russia, we see a growing demand from small and medium enterprises, in the first place for solar power generation, because electricity prices for them is pretty high, and in some cases, solar generation can be affordable and beneficial. We looked at the kilowatt-hour price of the LCOE. We used the LCOE to calculate the kilowatt-hour prices in Russia for several dozen regions in Russia, from the lowest to the highest LCOE in rubles per kilowatt hour. You see some of the results on the screen. And based on these results, we have produced this map. The yellow stands for the regions where solar electricity could be below 4 rubles, and orange are regions where the solar electricity could cost 4 to 5 rubles. All in all, we got 34 regions where the solar generation could be less expensive than 4 rubles per kilowatt hour. Speaking about a particular region, it is not everywhere across the region the solar electricity would be just 4 rubles, because regions could be large with very different insolation conditions. And of course, it is not everywhere that it will be 5 to 4 rubles. Still, chances are high that in regions that are color-coded there, you can find places where you can really install solar batteries to produce electricity in a less expensive way. We expect that this market of unsubsidized solar generation would develop pretty fast. Shortly, small and medium enterprises would demand cheaper electricity because they're the ones who pay the most for electricity. In the foreseeable future, even larger companies could be interested because of international trends that we know of, and because of cross-border carbon tax could be introduced, and because of certain changes in behavior among large businesses. The solar energy is competitive, and I expect not only small and medium businesses would demand solar electricity. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's where it is important to say this. As we discuss renewables, we seldom mention that they may be competitive or could become competitive in certain niches. Your activity your project is very interesting because you highlighted those precise niches where they are already competitive. What do we think about potential of growth of their development in terms of gigawatts?